Hello and welcome to the first of my new random shit series. Basically, just me going through and looking up things and just little subjects. In this case, it's cryptids. In other cases, it might be dogs. At one point, I did the United States as a country, and this one, of course, as I just said, is about cryptids. Which cryptids are, as stated in this Wikipedia article. This is a list of cryptids from the Greek component, crypto, meaning hidden, which are animals and plants presumed by followers of the cryptology pseudoscientific culture to exist on the basis of anecdotal or other evidence considered insufficient by mainstream science. While biologists regularly identify new species following established scientific methodology, cryptozoologists focus on entities mentioned in the folklore record. Entities may be considered cryptids by cryptozoologists include Bigfoot, the Chupacabra, or Mekele Membe. Related pseudosciences include young Earth creationism and ghost hunting, as well as ufology. So, yeah, actually, I figured we could, there we go, cryptid, Wikipedia. Oh, well, it's the same article. So, yeah, there's a few to go through. The first one that we're going to look at is the Beast of Bray Road. The Beast of Bray Road, or the Bray Road Beast, is a creature reported in 1936 on a rural road outside of Elkhorn, Wisconsin. The same label has been applied to other sightings from northern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Bray Road is a quiet rural road near the community of Elkhorn. The rash of claimed sightings in the late 1980s and early 1990s proclaimed a local newspaper, the Walworth County Week, to assign the reporter Linda Godfrey to cover the story. Godfrey was initially skeptical, but later became convinced of the sincerity of the witness. Her series of articles later became a book called The Beast of Bray Road, tailing Wisconsin's werewolf. The Beast of Bray Road is described by purported witnesses in several ways: as a bear-like creature, as a hairy biped resembling Bigfoot, and as an unusually large 2 to 4 feet tall and on all fours, 7 feet tall standing up, intelligent werewolf-like creature able to walk on its hind legs and weighing 400 to 700 pounds. It also said that its fur is a brown-gray color resembling a dog or bear. Explanations. A number of animal-based theories have been proposed. They include that the creature is an undiscovered variety of wild dog, a wahila, said to be a giant prehistoric wolf similar to Amarok, or a wolf dog or koi dog. It is possible that hoaxes and mass hysteria have caused some falsehoods and sightings of normal creatures to be artificially lumped under the same label. Concurrently with the sightings in Wisconsin, there was a rash of similar encounters in the neighboring state of Michigan. Following the release of The Legend, a popular song about the Michigan Dog Man, in 1987, author Steve Cook received dozens of reports, including photograph and film evidence of the creature. There is no known link between the sightings in adjoining states, other than the similarity of the creature described. Movie. In 2005, The Asylum distributed a fictionalized account of the search for this monster. Hi. My dog's kind of being a little intrusive. Hi. Alright. So Bigfoot is up next. In North American folklore, Bigfoot or Sasquatch is said to be a hairy, upright walking, ape-like creature that dwells in the wilderness and leaves footprints. It is strongly associated in the particular Pacific Northwest, particularly Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia. And individuals claim to see the creature across North America. Over the years, the creature has inspired numerous commercial ventures and hoaxes. Folklorists trace the figure of Bigfoot to a combination of factors and sources, including folklore surrounding the European wild man figure, folklore among belief Native Americans and loggers, and a cultural increase in environmental concerns. The majority of mainstream scientists have historically discounted the existence of Bigfoot, considering it to be a combination of folklore, misidentification, and hoax, rather than a living animal. A minority, such as anthropologist Grover Krantz and Jeffrey Meldrum, have expressed belief in the creature's existence. Alright. I'm not going to go through a lot of this, but I suppose we could take a look at extinct hominid. Primatologist John R. Napier and anthropologist Gordon Strassenberg have suggested a species of Paranthropus as a popular candidate for Bigfoot's identity, such as Paranthropus robustus, which is with its gorilla-like crested skull and bipedal gait, despite the fact that the fossils of Paranthropus are found only in Africa. Michael Rugg of the Bigfoot Discovery Museum presented a comparison between human and Meganthropithecus skulls reconstructions made by Grover Krantz in episodes 101. God, I can't fucking talk right now. He favorably compares modern tooth suspected of coming from a Bigfoot to the Meganthropus fossil teeth, and blah blah blah. Scientific view. Yeah, all this bullshit. Basically, just lots and stuff about like the scientific thing. I guess Jane Goodall told NPR that she believed in Bigfoot. That's strange. Let's take a look at Jane Goodall. Actually, you know what? We'll get rid of these. Get rid of that one. Because that's the thing. I'm allowed to go on tangents on these little series I do. Like that. Jane Morris Goodall, born Valerie Jane Morris Goodall, formerly, oh fuck, that's so much, is an English primatologist and anthropologist, considered to be the world's foremost expert on chimpanzees. Goodall is best known for her over 55-year study of social and family interactions of wild chimpanzees since she first went to Gombe Stream National Park in Tanzania in 1960. She is the founder of Jane Goodall Institute and the Roots and Shoots program, and she has worked extensively on conservation and animal welfare issues. She has served on the board of Non-Human Rights Project since its founding in 1966. In April 2002, she was named a UN Messenger of Peace. Let's skip early years and go to Africa. Goodall has always been passionate about animals and Africa, which brought her to the farm of a friend in the Kenya highlands in 1957. From there, she obtained work as a secretary, and acting on her friend's advice, she telephoned Louis Leakey, the notable Kenyan archaeologist and paleontologist, with no other thought than to make an appointment to discuss animals. Leakey, believing that the study of existing great apes could provide indications of the behavior of early hominids, was looking for a chimpanzee researcher, though he kept the idea to himself. Instead, he proposed that Goodall work for him as a secretary. After obtaining approval from his wife, Mary Leakey, Lewis sent Goodall to Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania, where he laid out his plans. In 1958, Leakey sent Goodall to London to study primate behavior with Osmond Hill and primate anatomy with John Napier. Leakey raised funds, and on 14th of July 1960, Goodall went to Gombe Stream National Park, becoming the first of what would come to be called the Trimates. She was accompanied by her mother, whose presence was necessary to satiate the requirements of David Ansley, chief warden, who was concerned for their safety. Alright. Yeah. That's just a little bit of information on Jane Goodall. Actually, I know what I want to look up is Koko the gorilla. Koko the gorilla. All right, Koko, who lived from July 4th, 1971 to June 19th, 2018, was a female Western lowland gorilla known for having learned a large number of hand signs from a modified version of American Sign Language. Koko was born at the San Francisco Zoo and lived most of her life in Woodside, California, at the Gorilla Foundation's preserve in the Santa Cruz Mountains. The name Hanabiko is Fireworks Child is of Japanese origin and is a reference to the date of her birth, the 4th of July. Koko gained public attention upon a report of her having adopted a kitten as a pet and creating a name for him. Her instructor and caregiver, Francine Patterson, reported that Koko had an active vocabulary of more than 1,000 signs of what Patterson called gorilla sign language. In contrast to other experiments attempting to teach sign language to non-human primates, Patterson spontaneously exposed Koko to spoken English from an early age. It was reported that Koko understood approximately 2,000 words of spoken English in addition to the signs. Koko's life and learning process has been described by Patterson and various collaborators in books, peer-reviewed scientific articles, and on a website. As with the great ape language experiment, the extent to which Koko mastered and demonstrated language through the use of these signs is disputed. It is generally accepted that she did not use syntax or grammar, and that her use of language did not exceed that of a young human child. However, she scored between 70 and 90 on various IQ scales, and some experts, including Mary Lee Ginsvold, claim that Koko used language the same way people do. Okay. Death. Koko died in her sleep during the morning of June 19, 2018, at the Gorilla Foundation's preserve in Woodside, California, at the age of 46. The Gorilla Foundation released a statement that her impact has been profound and that what she taught us about the emotional capacity of gorillas and their cognitive abilities will continue to shape the world. Even though Koko was 46 years old when she died, well past the life expectancy of a gorilla, her death took staff members of the Gorilla Foundation by surprise. So that's really sad. I actually rather liked Koko the gorilla. I thought it was a rather interesting experiment, and I mean the experiment of like teaching a gorilla sign language. That's incredible, and overall, I rather liked Koko just as a gorilla and stuff, and it was really sad when she died, in my opinion. But intelligence between 1972 and 1977, Koko was administered several infant IQ tests, including the Cattell Infant Intelligence Scale and Form B of the Peabody Picture Vocabulary Test. She achieved scores in the 70 to 90 range, which is comparable to human infant that is slow but not intellectually impaired. Anyway, gorillas, rather interesting, little, species. There she is. I'm going to use that as the thumbnail, I think. There we go. Okay, now we're going to go back to the original thing. We're going to read one more article, and that's going to be about the Wendigo. In Algonquian folklore, the Wendigo, or Wendigo, is a mythical man-eating monster, or evil spirit, native to the northern forests of the Atlantic coast and Great Lakes region of the United States and Canada. The Wendigo may appear as a monster with some characteristics of a human, or as a spirit who has possessed a human being and made them monstrous. It is historically associated with murder, insatiable greed, and the cultural taboos against such behaviors. The legend lends its name to the controversial modern medicine term Wendigo psychosis, as described by psychiatrists as a culture-bound syndrome with symptoms such as an intense craving for human flesh and a fear of becoming a cannibal. In some indigenous communities, environmental destruction and insatiable greed are also seen as manifestation of Wendigo psychosis. Parallels. The Wishiuj is a similar being that appears in the legends of the Athkabab people in the northwest Pacific coast. It too was cannibalistic. However, it was not so much insane as enlightened with ancestral insights. So that's cool. Folklore. The Wendigo is a part of traditional belief system of a number of Algonquin-speaking peoples, including the Ojibwe, the Saltiuks, the Cree, the Naskapi, the Innu. Although descriptions can be somewhat common to all these cultures in the view that the Wendigo is a malevolent, cannibalistic spirit supernatural being, they were strongly associated with the winter, the north, coldness, famine, and starvation. Basil Johnston, the whatever that is, teacher and scholar from Ontario, gives a description of Wendigo. The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation. It was desiccated. It had its desiccated skin pulled tightly over its bones, with its bones pushing out against its skin. Its complexion, the ash gray of death, and its eyes pushed back deep into their sockets. The Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton, recently so many words I can't pronounce, and that's not a good thing. What lips it had were tattered and bloody, unclean and suffering from suppurations of the flesh. The Wendigo gave off a strange and eerie odor of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption. Alright. Wendigo psychosis is basically just the idea of like someone going psychotic and becoming a cannibal, eating human flesh and all that. Yeah, I think that's all for today. Goodbye.